Yes, ma'am, and the recording has started. Commissioner Myers.
Here.
Glenn Brown.
Here.
Eugenia Joseph. Deborah Knoll. Mike Lacey. Brett Gottschalk. Artie Fryer.
Here.
Craig Fursell.
Here.
David Newell. Tracy Noyes.
Here.
Thank you. Emily Hugart.
Ian Martin, Tremblay.
Thank you. Christina Melling. Clarendon Senate. Abby Walters. Beth Pasek.
Here.
Mark Harshberger. Deborah LaKenta. Jennifer Waskovich.
Here.
Alexia Wiggins.
Here.
Councilman Schisler.
Here.
Kristen Thomas. David Michaels. Indira Chambers. John Vargas.
Here.
Cassandra Blaylock.
Here.
Jerry Stickney.
Here.
We do have an in-person quorum.
Thank you so much. For the record, we have public comments. No public comments. Do we have a motion to approve the December 15th minutes?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Do we have any opposers? That motion is carried. We're going to move right into our action item. The first presenter is Wally. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, TDCB members. My name is Wally Glart with TPO staff, and I'll be presenting our annual attendance review, declaration of vacancies, and election of officers for 2024. So an overview, TPO bylaws require that members' attendance be reviewed and officers be elected each year. Committee members' attendance is essential for the committee to be able to conduct business, and the TPO may review and consider rescinding the appointment of any member of any committee who fails to attend 3 consecutive meetings. Members who have exceeded 3 absences are contacted to determine their intentions regarding committee membership. If no response is received, then the seat may be declared vacant and a new member sought. So real quickly, here's the attendance list of the 2023 TDCB. I asked that we take a minute real quick to review. This was also attached to the meeting agenda packet. TPO staff tried reaching out to Indira Chambers, who's the TDCB member representing the Regional Workforce Development Board, and we have not been able to contact that member. And TPO staff is also attempted to contact Mark Harshberger, who is the TDCB representative for the Florida Department of Education and the Division of Blind Services. Mark is no longer at that agency, thus both the aforementioned positions will be declared vacant. Currently, we are also seeking a replacement to Gloria Mills, who is the TD System and Citizen Advocate Representative, and we are seeking an alternate to represent the user of system for when Mr. John Vargas will not be able to attend in person. And the TDCB will also be seeking alternates for members who do not have a current alternate named. So, per the bylaws of the TPO, section 4.2.9, we will need to fill the following vacancies: a representative of the TD System and Citizen Advocate, a local representative of either the Florida Division of Vocational Rehabilitation or the Division of Blind Services, representing the Department of Education, and a local representative of the Regional Workforce Development Board, as well as an alternate for a person with a disability who represents the disabled citizens of the county. Currently, the officers of the TDCB are per TPO bylaws, and its committees 4.2.9, chair of the TDCB must be an elected official serving on the Hillsborough County TPO that has been appointed by the TPO to serve as TDCB chairperson. Our current chair is Commissioner Myers, and in August of 2023, after the passing of Gloria Mills, Councilman Schisler was named the vice chair for the TDCB. And the officer at large position has been vacant since August 2023. Per the TPO bylaws 4.2.3, the committee shall hold an organizational meeting each year for the purpose of electing a committee chair, a committee vice chair, and at the discretion of the committee chair and officer at large. An officer shall be elected by a majority vote of a quorum of the members. The officer at large shall, during the absence of both the committee chair and the committee vice chair, or their inability to act, have the same duties and responsibilities as them. In addition, shall perform other duties as may from time to time be assigned by the committee chair. Members can nominate themselves or any other member. No second is needed, and after all nominations have been received, nominations are closed, and each nomination is voted on individually until one member receives a majority of votes for an officer's position. So the next steps, we will now open up the floor for discussion. I have spoken to Marcella Blanchett. She said that she would be in attendance today, and she has volunteered to be the new TDCB representative of the Department of Education. But we will also seek nominations, as mentioned before, for a local representative of the Regional Workforce Development Board, an alternate for a person with a disability who represents the disabled citizens of the county, and a representative of this TD system and citizen advocate. And we will now welcome nominations for the officer at large position, and vote on their appointment. So this concludes my presentation, and as always, I'm available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. We'll take each position one at a time, so.
Sure.
Call the person.
So right now we can go ahead and vote for an officer at large.
Okay. We come to the meeting, so if you want to be an officer at large, that while they know, and we'll confirm it in this meeting. Okay, let me say it this way. We're here to give service. And I'm pretty sure serving as a member at large, it's not going to take too much of your time to assist on this board. Do we have any volunteers?
I'll volunteer. Glenn Brown.
Yep. Glenn Brown.
Okay.
And then we just have to vote.
Yeah.
All right, so, you want to open up the floor?
Yes. Any other nominees? Do we have any other nominations? Last call. Any other nominations for the position for member at large? Hearing none, then we're gonna close to that said position. Congratulations, Glenn.
Okay. Oh, Marcella actually did.
Sorry, I'm new to this.
No worries, no worries. So, she walked in, a little bit late, but that's fine. Do you want to, nominate yourself for the blind services?
You should apply services.
Okay. Well, we still have to carry through. Do we have any other nominations from the floor? Any other nominations from the floor? Are there any other nominations from the floor? Hearing none, congratulations. For the record, can you state your name?
Yes, my name is Marcella Blanchett. I'm actually a employment placement specialist in the Division of Life Services.
And then, I know, Scott Bragan, he, has volunteered to be the, voting member alternate to the TDC representing the local for-profit transportation industry. So if we could put that in as well. He'll be
I didn't get the first name.
Scott, Bragan,
Reagan.
Reagan, excuse me, Scott Reagan.
For what position?
He will be the alternate for
Okay.
the local for-profit transportation industry. So he will be taking the place for Deborah La Quinta if she's unable to make it in person. So, and then, just to let you all know, we will be putting out an application to, and be in contact with Sunshine Line and Heart Plus to get a system user. And also as a representative for the disabled citizens of the county. So we will work hard for that, and then we'll reach out to the Regional Workforce Development. Excuse me?
Is that person? I mean, Chris was the local government agency, you can local,
Yeah.
you know, they're emerging July first. Good, what else, Vascular, what else, emerging.
Yeah.
Babes.
So, yeah,
Yeah, I serve as chair.
Okay, I'm just.
Yeah, we merging. We're working on, bringing Hillsborough and Pinellas together for one consortium.
yes,
Just a comment, Indira Chambers that was meeting with us previously, her position was eliminated. And at the last meeting that she was at, it was right with the transition of you coming on. She said that at that time, they didn't have a replacement for her. So I don't know where they are in that process.
that's fine. And then we'll work with them. So those, I just wanted to go ahead, for the bylaws to declare those positions vacant. And then now congratulations to, Mr. Glenn Brown. You are the officer at large. And then, it's great to have you, Marcella, Scotty as well. So, yes, sir.
Should Marcella take a seat at the?
Yeah, she would still have to be, approved by the TPO, but so, we'll go ahead and forward to the next TPO board meeting and we'll get it approved. But yeah, the next meeting in April, she'll have a name tag and she'll be sitting with us, but it's her first time, so I guess it's good that you came and
Yeah.
hang out with us. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Anyone else have any other questions?
We're gonna go ahead and do a motion to confirm.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Need a motion in a second to confirm Glenn and myself. But there-
Move approval.
we have a motion in a second, to accept the approval of the two nominations from the floor. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? That motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Wally.
Yeah.
And is Karen here? Good morning.
There we go. You can hear me, yes?
Can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
The mic,
It says,
still a green button.
it is, it's green.
Can you turn the volume up?
Yeah,
Yeah, can you turn the volume up? Speak again?
all right. Can you hear me now?
Barely, but go ahead.
Why is that? So this morning, we have one coordination contract with Life Concepts DBA Quest. I'll refer to them as Quest because that's a mouthful. Agencies that receive funding from DOT through the 5310 program are required to maintain a coordination contract with the county as a CTC to continue to be eligible for the grant funding that they already have or to apply for new funding. Life Concepts Quest is a nonprofit that provides services for persons with developmental disabilities. And last year, they currently have a coordination contract, which is expiring in March. Last year, they provided 7,800 trips for their residential clients. They have 15 vehicles and their average cost per trip last year, this would be the last AOR year, was $72.56 per trip. I would expect, like most agencies, they will have more trips and lower cost per trip probably this year. Last year, people were still recovering, I think, from COVID. So we just need approval from this board to enter into a new contract to replace that so that they can maintain their compliance with their grant with DOT.
Do we have any questions?
Karen, there's been a lot of agency.
Karen, can you speak a little louder, please?
There's been a lot of agency staff turnover.
Mhm.
And we are currently, they requested that they transfer some of their vehicles over to their Orlando
Okay.
campus.
Mhm.
So I would like to look more into that within the agency.
Mhm.
Because I'm still not clear whether they're still continuing their operations as they agreed to in Tampa. That's a whole nother district.
Mhm.
That's District 1.
And is it a portion of their vehicles or all of their vehicles? Because if they don't get a new contract, they won't be in compliance. They won't have their contract expired.
I'm sorry, excuse me, Chair.
Yeah,
To speak the speaker from the board, could they please speak towards the microphone?
It's way in there. It's not anywhere near her.
Do we have to approve?
When do you go to the mic where she's standing? That's-
Yeah, we're having a difficult time hearing her online.
Oh,
Does this have to be approved today? Or could we coordinate a little bit more with Quest to find out if they are still operating in Hillsborough or if they're planning on transferring their services to Orlando?
It doesn't have to be approved. If it isn't approved today, their coordination contract will expire, but we just enter a new one after the next meeting. It would affect their eligibility right now. DOT.
Okay,
okay, Councilor Schiller.
Have we done any competitive bids for this?
It isn't,
That it
it
doesn't
is,
fall
yeah, it's not.
Okay.
The type of service that would be cured that way. I mean, we don't pay for service. We
Okay.
just coordinate with them. They were going to have someone on attending the meeting, but I don't see. If Isabel Harris is on from the agency, she may be able to answer that question.
Is she online?
I don't see her now.
No,
Okay.
okay, well then, yeah, then we can wait until the next. meeting.
Oh, we have another.
Wait till the next meeting. What does this mean? Do the riders get the rides they need? Is it gonna have a client impact? I guess I have some concerns with this decision if it's gonna have a negative.
It
impact.
won't change what they're doing right now. It changes their eligibility with DOT for the grant. But if it's all, we're
no
working it out,
people will be
right.
impacted from us not moving forward with this
Right.
today.
no.
so have they indicated to you that they're not gonna, that they're
No.
moving out of here and not gonna serve? And you've had recent conversations with them?
Yes.
And when does the contract expire?
The beginning of March 3rd or 4th.
So,
So
so then the kind of information that we would need is to know if they will remain operational.
right, or if they're reducing service in Hillsborough,
Right,
right. It
so,
may be the case. It may be that they're just reducing service.
okay, well, that will be information, not that would be.
But yeah, they had not indicated it to me,
Right.
so we will follow up.
So, okay, you're following.
Yeah.
That was gonna be on the next question. How do we find out?
Yeah. Okay.
So we might have to have a special call meeting because if the contract expires first.
We should be able to handle it at the April one because it's only affecting the relationship with DOT. And since we're working with DOT, we should be fine taking it to the April. We can defer it to the April meeting.
Okay, and then they can maybe retroact it back.
Right.
Okay. All right, well, we'll table it until you can seek
Okay.
additional information on the questions that were raised this morning.
All right. Thank you.
Okay,
And maybe have somebody from that organization present.
I think we should.
Yeah.
Karen, did you hear that?
Yes.
We're gonna ask for a representative to come to this meeting so we can address all the questions. Thank you.
Uh,
Okay, then we'll move right into our status report. Connor. Good morning.
Good morning. Let me just share the screen one moment. All right, I'm Connor Trejos McDonald here to present the 2024 safety performance targets. These targets have gone to the board for approval, so here we're for status report to update you on where we are with these. So a refresher on performance measures, they're required by MPOs out of the MAP 21 legislation, which is moving ahead for progress in the 21st Century Act of 2012. It's since been renewed in the IIJA Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. It creates a streamlined, performance-based and multimodal program to address the many challenges facing the U.S. transportation system. There are 6 categories of targets, safety being the first. Some other categories are bridge condition or transit asset management, but safety targets are refreshed every year in February. So there are 7 targets, 5 are required by the legislation and then 2 are elected by Hillsborough. Those two being the number of fatalities and the number of motorcycle fatalities on a 5-year rolling average. So our methodology with this is to apply a 1% reduction factor to the number we see in the previous year. So we take 2023's numbers, we apply a 1% reduction factor, and that's based on available funding for Safety Revision Zero projects. That is identified in our 2045 LRTP. It's also identified as a best practice for Federal Highway Administration, as well as supported by FDOT, as well as HART every year. So annual actual fatalities projected through 2024, we're with that 1% reduction factor, we're recommending a target of no more than 197. Annual fatalities on a 5-year rolling average. In past years, we have seen an increase with 24. In past years, when we set the target, we saw increases. So that going up, but we did see a decrease this year. I'm recommending a target of no more than 216. Fatality rate per 100 million vehicle miles traveled, recommending a target of no more than 1.49. Motorcycle fatalities, we have seen more or less inconsistencies with that, recommending a target of no more than 37.93. Annual serious injuries, we have seen a decrease even before the numbers on this chart, recommending a target of no more than 941. Serious injury per 100 million vehicle miles traveled, recommending a target of more than 6.52. Annual non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries, we have seen increases here, unfortunately. And with that 1% reduction factor, we're recommending a target of more than 240. So the report card of how we met these targets from the 2023 targets that we set, 6 of the 7 were met. Motorcycle fatalities being the one that we did not meet, just above at 40.60. And I also wanted to point out that the non-motorized fatalities were right at that number at 240. So the takeaways, the targets not met were motorcycle fatalities, and non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries are seeing an upward trend. So what can the TPO do, and what's the local relation implementation? MPOs and the local governments can design and prioritize safety projects in the CIPs. We can continue to program safety studies in UPWP. And in the TIP, we can continue to prioritize safety projects that are lower cost and or shovel ready. The Hillsborough CPO also has a speed management action plan in 2019 that has several recommendations. One being to design self-enforcing roadways, another to set and communicate safe speed limits, another to enforce safe speed limits. And the 2024 proposed targets right here, and I won't read through them again, but just a few. Annual actual fatalities, no more than 197. Serious injuries on a 5-year rolling average, no more than 941. Non-motorized fatalities, no more than 240. Serious injury per 100 million vehicle miles traveled on a 5-year rolling average, more than 6.52. And these targets, again, are required to be set by Federal Highway and FDOT. We do maintain the overall goal that will meet Vision Zero in the future, but we are required to set realistic data-driven targets every year. With that, I'll take any comments or questions.
Do we have any comments?
Yeah, one
Yes,
question.
Brandon.
As more and more people are on those little scooters, electric or otherwise, are they qualified as motorcycle accidents, or how do they get good now?
So we were actually looking into that the other day, me and my supervisor Wade, and we didn't see any fatalities on scooters in 2023.
That's a miracle.
And in past years, when there were fatalities, they were categorized as other pedestrian. So I think they would maybe be non-motorized, but I'm not 100% positive.
All right. Okay, go ahead.
I made this comment about this report in the past too. And the language of target is inappropriate. The target should be 0. And this is where we're at. And I think a couple of us have mentioned this before. I'm not the only one, but to say that's a target, no, that's a terrible idea. You know, it's all a target until it's your child or your mother or your sister, and then suddenly it's relevant. You know, but that language needs to be addressed.
Absolutely.
Like realistic expectation.
Yeah, something like that. This is where we're at. This is what we've seen. But our target is 0.
I can certainly look into what language
Yeah,
we're
thank you.
permitted to use, because we are, since they're targets from the federal highway, it's what we use. But I can see if we can modify that just for our preferences to say.
Appreciate that.
Do we have any other comments, Audie?
Yeah. Would you restate what, and I'm not sure your phraseology, but what are the solutions to reduce this? What, I think you mentioned it. What are they again?
Yes, absolutely. So it's what the TPO can do. So the TPO as not implementing agency, meaning like we don't actually build the roadways or we're not constructing anything. It is kind of difficult for us to set, put in methods to reduce these. But we do have plans and studies that we can put projects into, like the TIP is a 5-year program that you'll see later this year, I believe. Where we can, one category of the TIP is to prioritize safety projects. So the goal there would be to look at shovel-ready projects and that are lower cost, so we can go ahead and implement those quicker and faster, as opposed to waiting, funding a project or a study that will eventually create a safety project. So that's one area we can actually implement. Another is have safety studies in our UPWP, which is essentially like our scope of services that TPO does every 2 years, I believe. And the CIPs would be local government's implementation tools, so they can actually fund projects that are construction.
All right, is that information that can be reported to us whenever that's done?
The TIP or all of the above?
All of the above.
Absolutely.
Glenn?
And actually, Artie kind of reminds me, aspects of this, is there any way to tease out how much of this is related to people being transportation disadvantaged?
Right.
People that, couldn't get across the street fast enough,
Right.
people, waiting for buses, people, inappropriately using vehicles that are unsafe or anything like that. Is there a way to tease that out since we're the Transportation Disadvantaged Committee?
Right, and the overall data that we receive, it doesn't identify the person's ability. But we do have access to the crash report. So if that's something that you wish that we look into, we can look into every single crash report.
For us,
Yeah, for us. Thank you.
Any other questions? And can we have a motion to receive the report?
move to accept, receive and accept the report. Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive the report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? The motion is carried.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wade, good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, board members. 1 second, I'll pull this up. Great. Good morning, board members. Wade Reynolds, Hillsborough TPO staff. I'll be presenting the 2050 Long Range Transportation Plan Needs Assessment for Major Projects. So just a little bit about the Long Range Transportation Plan. Our current operating plan looks out to 2045. This one looks out a further 5 years to 2050. We update it on a 5-year basis. Major projects are one category that does have to be identified individually. So these would be major highway or transit projects. The sources for these projects come from local jurisdictions, existing local priorities in the Transportation Improvement Program and Long Range Transportation Plan, regional priorities from bodies such as the TMA, that's the Transportation Management Area, which is Pasco, Pinellas, and Hillsborough, or the SCTPA, that's the Suncoast Transportation Planning Alliance, which is the larger 8-county region, including Polk, Citrus, Hernando, Sarasota, and Manatee, in addition to the other 3. At the FDOT Strategic Intermodal System Plan, the Strategic Intermodal System consists of the interstates and other major highways for intrastate movement. And the FDOT non-SIS projects, which would be the other FDOT roads and central offices plan, looking out to 2050 with those. So this is the map that was produced for the 2045 cost feasible projects. One thing to take away from this is that there are a lot more projects on here than are likely to be built by 2045 or 2050. The reason for that is that this map, the cost feasible 2045 plan, was developed under the assumption that all for transportation funding would be available to construct these projects. It is not, so there will be a smaller number of projects. The map that we are taking to the public right now, this is just an example of the 2050 strategic intermodal system cost feasible plan. These are the projects envisioned from 2033 through 2050. And you can see that that is a number of interchange projects, projects on I-4, projects on I-75, and interchange projects, meaning exit projects on I-275. The new projects that we are examining for the 2050 LRTP, and I should add that all of the ones from the 2045 will also be evaluated and compared against these. The green lines on this map are new transit lines. I'll walk through them one by one. There is one from the airport / West Shore District to Temple Terrace, east and west. The long line running all the way from north to south on this map follows roughly the either US 41 or CSX line that runs along that path. That is a project request from Bradenton. That project was requested by the Sarasota Manatee TPO and through the SCTPA. The project running down South Tampa is a request from the city of Tampa, the South Tampa Peninsula. That runs along the CSX line and Selman Expressway. That is referred to as the South Tampa Multimodal Corridor in the grant application that was recently approved by the city of Tampa, or for the city of Tampa, to study several transit corridors. There is a north-south line that follows roughly from USF to Brandon, using 50th and 56th Street for bus rapid transit that's being evaluated. And there is a line that goes from USF to downtown to Brandon using the Selman Expressway and interstates. In addition, the premium transit from downtown to the airport is being considered in this, and the streetcar extension is also being evaluated up to Palmetto. The purple lines that you see on this map are express lane projects. The one going south to Big Bend Road is along US 301, is a upper deck tolling of US 301 from the end of the Selman to Big Bend Road that is being evaluated. That would also is concurrently being evaluated with a bus rapid transit project as well. The I-4 and the east-west portion of I-275, that would be the express lanes, Tampa Bay next. I-75 from Manatee County to Pasco County, those would also be being considered for express lanes as well, or managed lanes of some type. The red lines on this map, I-275 from Hillsborough to Bears, that's a widening being considered. US 92 from Park Road and Plant City to the Polk County line being considered for a widening. State Road 60 all the way out to Polk County being considered widening from 4 to 6 lanes. Lithia Pinecrest also being considered for a widening from 2 to 4 lanes. County Road 39 also being considered for a widening from 2 to 4 lanes from State Road 60 down to State Road 674 and State Road 672. The limits of that are from just east of Highway 301. So also there are 3 interchange projects being considered here. One would be a reconstruction of the I-75 US 301 interchange. One is a proposed or evaluation of a possible interchange at I-75 and Harney Road in Temple Terrace. That is a project requested by Temple Terrace. Another is evaluation of an interchange at US 41 and I-275. And the last one, which you can see on the very bottom of the screen, is a new interchange between the Manatee Hillsborough County line and the Little Manatee River. So that is a summary of the currently being considered projects that are new for the 2050 plan. This is just a page from the tip to show you an example of the other projects where they come from being considered. These are priorities for new funding that are already in the Transportation Improvement Program. This happens to be the last page of it. So you can see that the numbers alongside are 92 through 95. There are 91 other priorities being considered for new funding, and many, many more pages to this table that are under consideration. So the next steps, we will be modeling these projects through the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Model that is currently underway. We have a long-range transportation MetroQuest survey that I believe you will see later in your meeting today, which will allow you an opportunity to provide feedback on all of those major projects that I just mentioned in one of the screens. We will narrow down the larger project list based on the performance in both the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Model, comparison or delay reduction against other existing priorities, and based on public input in that survey. And then we will determine the available funding levels and then narrow down that to a list of cost feasible projects. So with that, I realize it's a lot of information, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
You have any questions? Anyone? Hearing none. We have a motion to receive the report.
Motion to receive report. Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive the report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? Motion is carried. Thank you so much, Frank.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Frank? Good morning. Morning.
Good morning, board members. My name is Frank Wazinski. I'm the manager of marketing communications for HART. I'm going to be giving an overview of the Heart for All campaign. The concept for Heart for All originated from HART chair Louis Vieira, whose brother has an intellectual disability, and tasked HART staff with developing an autism awareness campaign. The campaign is near and dear to Chair Vieira and me, as well as my mother became blind 20 years ago due to a stroke. And so, while developing the Heart for All campaign, the scope of it evolved beyond autism awareness to an awareness and inclusion campaign that targets everyone with an intellectual and or physical disability. And I'm going to be providing image descriptions for those that may be visually impaired. The slide includes an image of a Tampa Bay Times op-ed from Chair Vieira titled, "Let me tell you about some of the bus riders in Hillsborough County. HART is a lifeline for many Hillsborough residents. We need to make the bus service more transparent and better." The Heart for All campaign was developed in partnership with community organizations such as CART USF. And one of the great benefits of developing the Heart for All campaign was reigniting community relationships that had somewhat dimmed as the world was gripped by a pandemic. HART worked with disability advocacy and training groups like the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities, CART USF, to create an education and awareness campaign for those with intellectual and physical disabilities on how to ride HART. Heart for All is intended to be a conversation with the community and how we can make our service more accessible for all. So it's not to say that we're 100% accessible, but it shows our commitment to strive to be accessible for everyone. And then this slide includes the Heart for All logo with the collage of individuals and the words accessibility, mobility, independence. So there's a delay. Rider education is the primary focus of Heart for All. The campaign features a guide for prospective riders and a quick tip flyer, and will ultimately lead to the return of the Heart Travel Training Program, which was paused during the pandemic. If you're not familiar, the Heart Travel Training Program is probably one of the best kept secrets in Hillsborough County. It helps those with, of all abilities to use the service. Your first trip is free. We have a designated travel trainer that comes and will plan a trip with you. We'll walk you through it. Sometimes if you need multiple sessions, they're there to help those that need additional help. And unfortunately, during the pandemic, demand for the service dropped. And so now we're back to, I believe we just made an offer on a new travel trainer. So we're getting the program started back up as part of this. And so the slide features a collage of Hartfall collateral, including the ASD inclusion guide and social media graphics. In addition to the rider guide and external education pieces, Heart for All includes a best practices guide for Heart employees. Our Heart for All partners are also part of conducting refresher training for staff. Training includes everything from wheelchair securement, sensitivity training to presentations such as the Sunflower program for those with hidden disabilities. As an example, we just had in November, we had our partners at Lighthouse for the Blind and Low Vision come on site and provide a refresher training for our operators. And then this slide features an image of a Heart employee assisting a rider with a mobility device and using Heart's new Q-Strain securement system. As the campaign name suggests, Heart for All is about Heart being there for all in the community, regardless of ability. Some of the outreaches in support of Heart for All include the Coffee United People ADA Town Hall with Chair Vieira and Heart CEO Scott Rainville, ADA Day, Cane Quest, and the recently launched Heart Ambassador pilot program, which features operators assisting patrons at transit facilities and onboard vehicles en route. And then the slide features an image from Cane Quest with an operator assisting an event participant on the Heart Plus ramp. Just as important as the rider education component is the disability awareness aspect of Heart for All. A series of videos were created featuring Heart Plus riders. Sam Piazza, a rider who utilizes Heart Plus for work at PDQ in the gym, where he trains for the Special Olympics. And I'll be showing this video after my presentation. For those, the video features interviews with Sam's mother, Ruth, his employer at PDQ, his trainer, and a Heart Plus operator typically picks Sam up. The video our Heart is also partnering with Hillsborough County Public Schools on an inclusion art contest and will promote disability awareness throughout the year by highlighting Autism Awareness Month, Disability Pride Month, Disability Employment Awareness Month, and more. And I mentioned some things that we're looking to do. Onboard announcements, working with CARD USF to find some individuals that would be willing to provide awareness messages, and utilizing social media, and again with our community engagement as well. So like I said, the next big step is for Heart for All is the return of the Heart travel training program. Like I said, Heart currently has an offer in for a travel trainer, and staff is working to develop new program promotional material. And as I mentioned, we initially focused on an autism inclusion guide and material targeted at those with ASD. The next steps are to work with our community partners and the Heart ADA committee on developing additional rider education material. An example of that is a guide for those who are visually impaired. So those are the next steps. Then I'll take any questions if there's any questions. Otherwise, I'll show the video.
Thank you for the presentation, Audie.
I'm just curious, do you have a projected restart date for that?
Sure. So obviously the travel trainer themselves will have to be trained on Heart service. That's quite a process in terms of knowing all the routes, knowing how to, the simple how to ride steps. I would imagine that we're probably looking at maybe late summer for a start, mid to late summer, probably at the latest, but I would say probably around that time point. And you'll definitely start seeing promotion on that.
How many trainers will you have?
Currently just the one,
Just
and that's all I believe is budgeted. But in terms of, obviously if the demand is there, then we'll certainly grow the program again. But it is quite a program. Like like I said, I think it's definitely one of the best kept secrets because it's open to everybody. It's open to anyone that we're trying to break down the barrier of entering transit. We know that it can be kind of daunting knowing how to get started, where to catch a bus, that kind of thing.
That travel trainer program is highly commendable. Is there any qualifying standards in order to apply for that?
I believe that it's, I believe it, the only thing is that you need an associate's degree out there. I don't believe there's any kind of industry related thing. Obviously there's preferences, I believe, in customer service and things like that, but I don't think there's any kind of, certification that's necessary. Yeah.
Right. I was referring more to how does a potential member apply for that travel trainer program?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so really it's just reaching out to our customer service staff. It's 813-254, sorry, 813-254-4278. Yeah, customer service will book the trips, and then materials sent in advance to kind of help prepare the individual. And then, they'll follow up in terms of, getting started and meet them at a location, et cetera.
So you mentioned that it would be available to anyone who's interested. I think our particular interest would be for persons that we're concerned about the transportation disadvantage.
Absolutely.
Will there be statistics pertinent to that group?
In terms of tracking, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, so the travel trainers, they do, at least how the program previously, worked, they obviously keep metrics and things like that, and preferences obviously getting given to those that might need the service versus, more looking to, more of a want, I guess.
Okay. Obviously it's something we be
Yeah,
interested in,
absolutely.
so.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we could certainly work through, our connections to provide those metrics if,
Please do.
Any other questions?
I just have one. Is there any kind of training on how to use the HART system for the general?
We have materials on our website, goheart.org. You can find how to ride. There's video, like a quick, roughly about a 2-minute video that shows you, the steps of, how to locate your stop, how to, we have a trip planner, just like Google Maps, that you can plan from point A to point B of how to, it shows you connecting routes and things like that, and how to get started. We have the rules, kind of the rules of the road, kind of, that kind of thing. All those materials are on our website, and we also have, at our facilities, we have, how to get righted, how to get started, guides and things like that, the materials, cards.
I think that'll be very beneficial. I lived in the Keys. I was an avid bus rider. Hillsborough, I wouldn't even know where to begin.
And you're not alone, and that's part of what we're trying to do in terms of, even at our stops, we have information available on the signs themselves, on the poles, on how to get, trip planners are available, things like that, and how to get started. But it is daunting. You walk out, where do I catch my bus? What do I do? How do I connect? And we're trying to kind of help break down those barriers to transit.
Thank you.
Yeah, my hope is you'll be very successful. This sounds wonderful. With that in mind, and one person being the trainer, do you have anything set up just in case there's a waiting list? I mean, is there something to address wait?
Well, I'm not exactly sure how that's handled, to be honest with you. Like I said, it is something that's a little bit, there's a variable in it, because you might have someone that needs, a week. I do remember, because I'm not necessarily part of the program, part of the marketing program, but I do know that when we were starting this discussion about bringing it back, that, some individuals need a week or more. And so, those that, they might need more help, that can kind of back up the rest of the process, because it is just one person at a time. So I'm not exactly sure how that's handled. But like I said, if the demand is there and we can, locate that additional funding, we certainly would want to bring on another travel trainer. Yeah, so, and then I did have a quick video. And then, so this is Sam Piazza. He's a HART Plus rider. And really the video just shows how, it's not necessarily about HART, it's about Sam. It just shows how HART is there to kind of assist him in gaining independence, maintaining.
Sam has definitely impacted our life in a positive way. I think he's helped us to see just how important every day is. And he just brings a lot of laughs and a lot of smiles into our family. My husband and I, both have jobs, we're busy, we're active. It just makes it easier to know that Sam has a way to get home and that he doesn't have to rely on us. It also gives him a feeling of independence. He works Monday through Friday, and he finishes at 2 and has his lunch, and they pick him up near 3 o'clock.
So Sam has been a team member here at PDQ Carrollwood for more than 10 years, and we like to call him our kind of brand ambassador. He's really been a part of this community and part of this restaurant for so long that people actually come here to see Sam. They love seeing him at the restaurant. And he really has several functions. He's here working in the dining room, helps in the heart of house in the back, helps bring food out to guests, and really just helps with the overall operation here at PDQ. Sam is on time every day. I mean, he's excited to come to work. He loves being here. So for Sam to be able to get to work every day and go home, it's vital for him to have that transportation. And Hart has been a great partner to Sam and his family and to PDQ because he's able to get where he needs to go every day. And it allows him to have a job and be able to pay the bills and have a great lifestyle. And so without that transportation, it'd be very difficult for Sam to be able to be a part of our team. And it's so important to Sam's everyday life.
Sam comes twice a week for half an hour. Now we're about 2 months into powerlifting training for the Special Olympics. Never had a problem with Sam not coming in, not showing up. Got to be his reliable transportation with Heart Plus. I mean, they get him here every day on time.
My experience with Sam has been very positive. I take him to Crunch Fitness, I take him to work, and vice versa. I pick him up from those places as well, and then as well as bringing him home. And he doesn't forget you, he doesn't forget who you are, he knows exactly who you are when you come to pick him up, and it's been really positive.
Being with Hart, it just had that independence and freedom that I have. And I love interacting with the drivers. I love talking to them. They live past my disability because they see me as a person with a disability. But I like sticking with Heart Plus because Heart Plus gives you point A to point B.
Inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? We have a motion to receive the report.
Lucas People Center.
We have a second.
Second. Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive the report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? That motion is carried. Wally?
So good morning, I'm Wally with TPO staff. You might have gotten a little rat card on at your seat, and that's part of the Access 25 Long Range Transportation Plan survey that I'm going to be talking to you about here today. And we want to get your input on how you can help us shape the future of transportation in our growing county. So it's estimated by 2050 that Hillsborough County will grow to over 2 million people, and we need to make decisions on where money should be spent to ensure we have ways to walk, bike, drive, take a bus, train to the places we need to go. So the TPO has launched a survey for Access 2050, which is our long-range transportation plan to understand what your priorities and values are. Access 2050 is about reaching all voices, and we're using innovative outreach methods and work closely with community leaders, ensuring boots on the ground engagement to access even the hardest to reach communities and residents. Our survey is available in multiple languages, is ADA compliant and accessible via any digital device or through hard copies. Access also includes all modes of transportation, as we ask you to give input on transportation projects that are important to you, and we're dedicated to providing access to everyone. So what's a long-range transportation plan? Well, the LRTP looks forward 25 years and directs federal and state dollars toward transportation investments that you value. And we update the plan every 5 years. And this one, we intend to be adopted in October of 2024. So in this survey, you will share your thoughts and ideas on priority transportation projects, how to fund them, and what major projects you support. Your thoughts matter in shaping the future of these projects. So you can take our survey either by scanning the QR code on the screen or at the rack card, or going to our website access2050.org for filling out the paper survey. So I'll show the QR code again at the end. So first off, when you enter this, when you take our survey, you will see this screen, and upon entering the website, you'll land on the welcome page, and then after reading the prompts, you click on the green next button to continue to the priority tabs and begin the first part of the survey. So this is the priorities tab. So we'll go ahead and continue to see here. So in this section, you will want to drag your top 5 transportation priorities above the dotted line, and to make sure to rank them in order of importance. And once you list your top 5 transportation priorities, you'll be able to move on, or you'll be ready to move on to the funding sources tab by clicking on the white double arrows or clicking the green tab 3 titled funding sources. So on this screen, we'll want to know your thoughts on how we should pay for transportation. So the funding sources tab has 5 options that we need your input on. Each section will require you to answer the questions with approval or disapproval using the green thumbs up for approval or the red thumbs down for disapproval. You will also be able to leave a comment for each section by clicking on the gray circle with the white comment sign next to it. For more information about each of the funding sources, you can click the information icon in the top left corner and go through each of these 5. We'll go ahead and go through each 5 of these options. So option 1 is a community investment tax. So this is a current tax that benefits education, public safety, and transportation. So for example, the median income individuals would pay approximately $53 per year for a half-cent tax, or $106 per year for a 1-cent tax. Option 2 is the gas tax, and this is about 7 cents per gallon and funds many of our transportation projects. A gas tax is a fee imposed by the government on which each gallon of gasoline sold, and the money collected goes towards maintaining and building roads and highways. So option 3 is the transit service priority tax. Let me find my notes. Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, so this funds bus service and maintenance. So a home with a medium assessed value of about roughly 200,000 will pay $100 per year at the current rate of $500,000, and an increase to $1 per $1,000 of assessed home value would make it $200, and an increase to $3 per $1,000 of assessed home value would increase that to $600. The 4th option is express toll lanes, like those on the Veterans and Selwyn Expressways. Express toll lanes on highways are used to reduce traffic. Toll prices can be set to maintain constant at all times, while others can be adjusted to traffic levels. The 5th option is other funding sources, like the driver license fee and rideshare services. These funding sources will require advocacy from the community and may require approval by the Florida legislature to be implemented. So after completing all 5 sections on this tab, you would need to click on the white double arrows or click on the red tab for title major projects to move on. On the major projects tab, you will find a map that shows 23 potential projects designed to reduce congestion and provide access to key job centers. So this is kind of what Wade went over. So once you're on this, please be sure to click on each colored bubble and let us know if you support the transportation project by clicking on the green yes button or the red no button. You may also leave a comment on each project if you have additional questions or concerns. Each of these projects, as mentioned before, are broken out by color. The legend indicates red projects are highway widening, purple elevated or managed lanes, green transit, and then the yellow projects are new or modified interchange projects. So let's take a look at each of these. So we'll start walking you through the 4 yellow projects that are the new or modified interchange projects, and we'll start in far south county, move north. So the first one on the screen is the I-75 new interchange near Fort Hammer. The second one is the I-75 interchange reconstruction at I-75 and US 301. And the third one is the new interchange I-75, which would be to build a new interchange at I-75 near Harney Road. And the fourth one is the new I-275 interchange, which is to build a new interchange at I-275 near US 41. Next, we'll look at the 6 green projects, which are transit projects, and we're sitting at the top left. We're starting at the top left, west side of the county, and moving east. So the first one is the East-West Metro Rapid bus service connecting communities from the West Shore and airport area to Temple Terrace. Second one is the CSX South Tampa Multimodal Corridor, and this corridor intends to identify which has been identified by various agencies as a prime opportunity for fixed guideway transit and trails. The third one is a downtown Tampa USF random premium transit exclusive guideway connecting the active areas of USF, downtown Tampa, and Brandon. The streetcar extension, which would go from Fort Brook Garage to Palm Avenue, and the regional passenger transit, which would take passengers from Brooksville to Bradenton, passing through Hillsborough County. And finally, the 6th one is the USF to Brandon BRT, which is a rapid bus service connecting the University of South Florida to Brandon along 50th and 46th Street. Next, we'll look at the 6 purple projects, which are elevated or managed lane projects. And we're starting on the bridges over the bay from left to right on the west side of the county and moving east. So the first one on the screen is I-275 managed lanes, which intends on adding 2 express toll lanes in each direction. The second one is the Gandy Bridge, which would replace existing Gandy Bridge with a new elevated highway connecting to the Selman Expressway. The third one is the Suncoast Parkway widening, which would widen Suncoast Parkway along Van Dyke Road to State Road 54 from 4 to 6 lanes. And the I-75 North managed lanes, which intends on adding 2 express toll lanes in each direction. I-4 managed lanes, seeking to add 2 express toll lanes in each direction. And finally, the 6th one is the I-75 South managed lanes, which add 2 express toll lanes in each direction. Now we will look at the 7 red projects, which are highway widening projects. Again, starting on the top left, west side of the county and moving east. So the one on the screen is the I-275 widening, which would widen I-275 along Hillsborough Avenue to Bears Avenue from 6 to 8 lanes. The US Highway 301 Expressway extension, which would build a new elevated highway above US 301 from the Selman Expressway to Big Bend Road. Please note that the US 301 is multicolored because the transit service is a part of the project according to Thea and Hart. Next, we have Balm Road widening, which would widen Balm Road along Clement Pride Boulevard to Balm Riverview Road from 2 to 4 lanes. Then we have the Lithia Pinecrest Road widening, which would widen Lithia Pinecrest Road along Kings Avenue to Fishhawk Boulevard from 2 to 4 lanes. Then we have the State Road 60 widening, which would widen State Road 60 along South Valrico Road to the Polk County line from 4 to 6 lanes. And then we have Country Road 39, which would widen County Road 39 along State Road 674 to State Road 60 from 2 to 4 lanes. And then finally, last project is the US 92 widening, widen US 92 Park Road to Polk County line from 2 to 4 lanes. Once you finish, please click on the double white arrows to move on, or simply click on the blue tab 5 titled Wrap Up to move on to the wrap up section of the survey. On the screen of the survey, we'd ask that you provide us with your zip code and answer a few optional questions. And then after filling out the form, you click Finish to submit your survey. So participants who provide an email address will be entered for the prize drawings, including sports tickets, concert tickets, a gift card, and more. Survey completion is not required. This past Wednesday, TPO staff and Planning Commission staff rode HART buses. We rode bus routes 1 and 9 from the Marion Transit Center to the University Area Transit Center, and we surveyed HART users. And one of the incentives that we do give to HART users is a HART bus pass. So we wanted to make sure that we get complete, as much voices as possible in the survey. So that's also not included in the survey, but that is something that we are providing to those who complete the long range transportation plan survey. So next steps, as mentioned, the survey was launched in January of 2024. We're currently in the community outreach stage. So we intend on wrapping up the survey on April 15th, 2024. And from there, we'll do the survey and outreach analysis. And on October 16th, we'll go ahead and have a public hearing at 6 p.m. where we will present our findings. So all we ask now is that you please share this survey to spread the word. And I'm obviously happy to answer any questions. I have an iPad here. If you guys want to fill it out after the meeting, you can fill it out on your phones. I will volunteer my laptop as well. And then obviously you guys can collect some rack cards and send it back to your agencies and make sure we get as many people to fill that out. I think this is a good way to get people's voices. So yeah, Glenn.
Yeah, I took the survey. It was pretty quick. I've already shared it. I did, however, was a little challenged with the map section.
Yeah.
And my curiosity is, like the road widening, I didn't really feel like I was appropriate for answering in some of those areas because I'm not a resident of that area and don't really go through that area. Are you weighting anything in terms of the zip codes that answer for the people that are in those areas? As maybe it's a little more relevant the way they respond than the way I respond.
Right. No, I think that's a good point. So do you know, do you want to answer that? Yeah, because it makes sense.
Yeah, related question. When you're taking the survey, are you required to say this on every item or?
No, you're not required.
Yeah, because I have no opinion about some of those. A lot of
Yeah.
people have no opinion about any of the choices.
I mean, when I was filling it out, I mean, if someone said, hey, I don't feel comfortable, I don't understand this, then I told them you don't have to fill that out. It's optional.
Bias the outcome for no reason.
Right, yeah, so.
Why don't you send it to us electronically so that we can share with our networks or any civic association, any churches that we're affiliated with that can help get the message out?
Yeah, of course, and it's in Spanish as well. So we've done some Spanish translation and to make sure that, we can get more people.
And are y'all gonna, I'm sorry, hold on. We're planning to staff the other,
Yeah, we have a lot of outreach. Yeah.
Can you come to Mike to make sure that, Gail can hear you?
If you know of a community group or an organization that you'd like us to present to or provide information for, please let Wally know, let Gail know, myself, any of the TPO staff. We're definitely considering opportunities for out. Let us know, or if there are places we can share the rack cards. We would love to get your feedback on things like that.
Can I suggest you get in contact with Wanda Sloan with the homeowners association and send it out, especially in South County?
Okay, definitely. Thank you.
Good point. Anyone else comments?
Tracy.
Yeah, go ahead.
I did want to ask, are there any current budget reports that have been put out from any of the studies that have been conducted in Hillsborough County to show possibly how we can make our current budget more efficient? Rather than, I've been a third generation Hillsborough County resident, and the thought of raising taxes right now with the insurance, property tax, everything across the board going up, I fear that mentioning another tax is going to just defer a lot of potential productive costs. So I was wondering if there's any budget reports of how our current funding is being used that we could provide some of the residents of Hillsborough County.
Staff. That's a good question. You also.
See what information we have.
Oh, yes.
So in October, is that when you're presenting to the Hillsborough County Commission? So-
Yeah, that will be the public meeting where we will be going to the board for adoption.
Well, I mean,
It's the TPO board.
T-Bill board, then eventually goes to Hillsborough County Commission.
It does not. So this is the long range transportation plan. It's a product that the TPO produces. And so the TPO board is the agency responsible for approving.
Well, I've seen this happen, still legislation talking about merging the agencies, so do that affect all this?
That does not affect the development of the long range transportation plan.
So this is a plan for TPO, so really nothing other than report happens.
So in order for projects to be eligible for certain kinds of federal funding, it is required, and for state funding as well, for transportation, it is required to be in the long range transportation plan. That's a state and federal requirement. Every MPO or TPO throughout the country is required to do a long range transportation plan.
But
And it's updated every 5 years.
So the TPO, they're the initial steps in eventually adopting something.
The TPO board is the entity that is charged in the state and federal requirements with developing and adopting this long range transportation plan. And so we're coordinating with the county, with the cities on developing the project list, on sharing information for outreach, but it is the ultimate responsibility of the TPO board to adopt this document.
It's just a document, but the actual projects themselves are done by the county commission.
The projects themselves would be done by an operating agency, so it could be the county commission, it could be the Florida Department of Transportation, it could be one of the cities, it could be one of the other transportation implementing and operating agencies.
Okay.
Any other questions? Can we have a motion to receive the report, please?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive the report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? That motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, next, Jerry.
Good morning, everyone. Jerry Stickney with Sunshine Line. I'm going to go through our operating report. Just going to hand out at the table for everybody. I'll go through the highlights throughout. Couple big things. Well, I think probably the biggest thing I'm most excited about is our driver capacity. We're currently at 77%, but as of March 4th, we will be at 100% capacity. Yay. We have 14 operators starting on the 4th and 1 customer service rep on the 4th as well. So 15 new hires starting on the 4th. They are multiple weeks through their onboarding. They've passed requirements, so we are looking to have that full 14. We're not concerned about that. We were, and of course, we had a lot of interviews, worked with a lot of partners. We had backfill for anyone that wasn't able to make it, and we were able to backfill 2 or 3 positions that people ended up not accepting. So full capacity, and looking back at, I think it's been about 6+ years since we've been at 100% driver capacity. Obviously with COVID and everything is a mix into that, but even prior, it's been a little bit. So very, very excited for that. Our on-time performance for January was 94%. And we do have a dip in our percentage of calls answered in our hold time. We had 2 days in January where Cisco phones were shut down and we had issues. So we were using county cell phones, calling our clients, and it was in and out intermittently. Half our call center was down, half wasn't. Sometimes they were all down. So there's that dip for that month in January. Our cross-county trips, just a breakdown of where we out through this grant year, a total of 422 trips. 84 clients, don't know why it says 12. It's a typo that I did that, don't know why it's there. Doesn't make any sense, but it's 84 total clients for 422 trips. And that's July through January. And then on the back side of this, we have a mock-up. We've been talking about our electric vehicles and transition to our transit vans. We have 3 electric vehicles. They're finally delivered. This is the mock-up of what it looks like and the graphics. They're getting installed next week. So at our next, I think this is the second board meeting, I've been saying, hopefully the next meeting, I'll have the vehicle here to look at. We will have the vehicle to look at next coordinating board meeting. We'll let all the information with Wally, so you guys know prior. We'll get it staged out front a little bit early and after the meeting. These Ford Transit vans, 3 are electric, and we have 10 additional gas powered on order. One thing we're really excited with these, way more fuel efficient, obviously with the 3 EVs, and then the 10 additional gas powered, more fuel efficient. They get throughout the area a little bit easier. And as far as capacity, they're set to have a total of 8 6-passengers, 2 wheelchair securements. Our big buses seat 12, so we're not that far off. And when we looked at our fleet, more often than not, with our shared ride service, we average 3 to 4 people on the bus at a time anyway. So it's definitely going to be great for maintenance, for upkeep, and just the cost of vehicles right now. The last order we did in 2019, a bus cost about $97,000. It's about $150,000 right now. So there's a big jump in discrepancy there. And these are coming in around 100, 110. So still more than we bought our big buses for a few years back. But so that's another benefit for cost saving down the line as well. With our targeted trips and the percentage we're doing month over month, we're at a projection now to do another 21% more than we did the prior year. So we've been seeing that 20% growth year after year. We're on track for that. And I'm hoping to see that even increase more because we're going to have more operators that will hit the road end of April, beginning of May, once they get all their training done. So hopefully the last couple months, we can even bolster that even more. And then our bus pass program as well, we're averaging a 50% higher trend with our low-income bus pass program as well. So we've had some outreach initiatives and getting clients submitted there. So excited to see the trend continue to grow. And I'm very excited to have the full capacity of drivers. The other thing we talked about a while back, we started a food desert program with Lee Davis Community Resource Center for the community to access fresh foods. Not quite a walking distance for the community to get to a location beyond little bodega here and there. So access to fresh foods. That's been going very well. And we just launched a pilot program replicating that service in Plant City as well. So more to respond on that in the next meeting, but we're trying to expand and get out into the community. And in Plant City as well, there's same thing, few little grocery stores, but depending on where you're at, it's really hard to access with walking and public transit. So that's growing there. Everyone got a magnet. So we focusing outreach. I have more. There'll be some left over at the table with the sign-in sheet. And if you want to have more for people, we've ordered a ton. Outreach, we are through the roof, and it has been incredible to see support from the community and then different agencies. We've got a lot that we're going to be filling those new drivers. They're going to be full and we're going to be growing. So excited for that. And our new software, it got approved by the board in December. We've started meeting with them in January. We're looking at that new implementation going around the summertime. Some of the big things with that, their new optimization tools will be helpful for routing, but also there are application software. So there's going to be a rider app. The capabilities that it has overall looks at applications, looks at booking trips, tracking your vehicle where it's at, automated notices for the drivers 15 minutes out. We're still door to door, so we'll go and knock on the door and get you, but you get that pre-warning. It'll be all automated based off the vehicle's GPS and their routing system. Our focus when we launch will be more on the rider app in regards of tracking your vehicle and the automation. We're going to do it in phases to make sure things work, do outreach to train our clients on how to use it and things of that nature. Our software company, they have outreach programs already established to help. We'll footprint that. The rider app will be built in to have Sunshine Line logo, and it'll be looks like something that we created that is not that we created, but we're all a part of it. And it's going to be really exciting to have that option. We will still always have our call center, still always have our paper applications that'll always be there, but just expanding for additional opportunities in that regard. And the final thing I had, there are two bills up at the state right now that are impacting transportation disadvantage. It'll be heard, wrapped up next, week or so. So I think the next meeting, depending on where it falls, will give a full update on what that impedes. There's different things from, additional training with operators, mandate of actual technology for clients, which fortunately for us, we are already in that direction here in Hillsborough. And then a draft budget for this coming year, which is $1 million less in the TD, the Trip and Equipment Grant, which that impacts us by about 95,000 less than the prior year. So we're waiting to see where all that comes in. It's House Bill 1673 and the Senate Bill 1380. They're moving along. So as of right now, it's already been amended for one of them where there was a mandate of security cameras, a mandate on every vehicle fixed, all these things. And when you look at TD across the board in the state, some agencies, I mean, that's millions of dollars of infrastructure that we don't have. So especially when you look at smaller agencies, smaller communities. So that's already been dropped off the bill. So we'll provide more in-depth, thorough aspect in the next coordinated board meeting once it's voted on and we know it's actually passed, and we'll go from there. And that is all I have, pending any questions.
We talked in the past meetings about weekends, and now that you'll be fully staffed in March, what is the plan to try to increase to a weekend? Are you still considering that?
Yeah, so still considering that with the group and the growth. We're also looking at that, getting vendors to help support, going to contracts, help with not just weekend service, but after hours and long distance trips throughout the week. So it's still top of the list on what we're working on. Yes, we're looking at that. I don't have a time frame as yet. Once they get onboarded, we do training and we'll push them out because we have additional group trips and aging services. Those were healthcare clients that are on the wait list that we'll be able to implement and create more there. So once we get them on board, we get rolling, we'll see what the extra capacity is to have staff to rotate back to Saturday. We're still lean heavily on working through with contracts and getting a vendor to support us in that manner.
Yes, just a couple things real quick. First of all, speaking from Hillsborough County Schools Transportation, we're jealous that you will be fully staffed in March. We're nowhere near that. Your electric vans that you're getting, are they 100% electric or hybrid?
100%.
And what's your charge time and what's the range?
Perfect. So out of the 13 Ford Transit vans, 3 are electric. The range that we're seeing is about 140
miles.
140 miles.
Okay.
So we'll plan around the 110 range. We don't want to go beyond that in the route for the day. There's the fast charging, which will be an hour, but we're looking at an 8-hour charge.
Okay.
So for us, we're going to plan a route no bigger than 110 miles, 30 plus miles extra. What's interesting with these that is the variable that other agencies that have them, it's all dependent. There's regenerative braking on these vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
So we all know there's a lot of traffic in Hillsborough. So there's a lot of stop and go. So that'll really help dictate where we range that. But at that 140 mark alone, feel very comfortable. 90% of our routes, these can be implemented in. They will focus within our main office over in the Hannah area, in the outskirts of North Tampa and things like that, just because that's where our charging stations are set up. And as of right now, those are the only 3 that we're planning on purchasing in the moment. We want to pilot it, see how charging is, see charging growth throughout the county. We don't want to get in over our heads and then have dead vehicles waiting and charging at Wawa and all these different things.
Well, but it's, yesterday I ended up having country people and realized it's a bit difference between level 2 and level 3. I guess level 3 is a lot more expensive to get to have 1 hour charge.
Yeah, the fast charge is more expensive. Yep.
But okay. Hopefully eventually have that infrastructure forward.
Yeah, and with what we have and what we built in, we have the infrastructure we need to support daily, but it is those quick charges and things like that we could go to Wawa, we could pay for that and reverse figure that.
What type of vans are these?
I'm sorry?
What brand are these?
Ford.
Ford doesn't work for Wawa. They only work for Tesla.
Okay.
They do work. I found out yesterday because I went to Ford dealership They told me they were working on it,
Mm,
but you go, certain places still will charge, for, sound you can get. So, yeah, they only work a while, but it only works a certain place.
perfect. That's even more affirmation of why we're sticking to a route with a lot less range than what we have. So perfect.
And are these wheelchair lifts or ramps?
Lifts.
Lifts.
Yep, there's a lift in the back and the electric vehicles, that floor plan that we have in there, actually has a sliding block system with those chairs. So we can reconfigure as we need to. We can take them all out and just have a wheelchair securement throughout the entire van. So a lot of flexibility with this build.
Any other questions? Can you come to mic, please? Good morning.
Good morning, Eugenia with APD. I have a question and just to,
You gotta raise your voice, please.
oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Barely.
Okay, so my question is on one of the previous meetings we had. You spoke upon the efforts being in place for the persons that you would hire for drivers. I wanted to find out what specific efforts did you put in place to bring your staff to almost fully staffed? And then moving forward, what are the things that you all are changing or noticing or putting into effect to limit the turnover rates so that you can have a longer history with the drivers? And then also just commenting on merging of services to gap the needs of other community initiatives. I think that's a great thing, especially with the food desert. So that's great.
Thank you. Yeah, so a couple of the efforts that our staff worked on just as general outreach, we went to job fairs. Those outreach events for services where we talk about what we do, we turned all those into our own mini job fair. You know, we let people know what the requirements were. We brought job descriptions with us. I worked with HR within our pay structure, and our starting rate, the minimum is $16.48 an hour. But I worked with our team to set up a more established experience rating system, where obviously years of service, you get more pay. So we worked in that. We're able to bring that up significantly to where prior you had 20 years experience, you'd be around $17.50, $18 an hour, to where now we're able to expand that into the range that matches RP, which is around $20, $21 an hour. So with that rating and looking at what we have, we're able to be more, more competitive. Thank you. And it seemed to work. This is the first round that we've done that in, and we filled every spot. Not only did we fill every spot, they did through background checks, they went through DOT appointments, they went through their fingerprinting without hassle. They are actually reaching out to us. Hey, we did that. What's next? You know, so just being competitive pay, I think is really what really made that big impact. And then as far as retention, we talk with our staff all the time. You know, we're very fortunate. We work for the BOCC. We have our benefits, the holidays. But that's things that are given. People have that. We've worked a lot with our leadership team to really change some culture and an open discussion for everybody. One of the biggest changes I've seen that has been positive, we've got rid of we go through a why discussion. Why do we do that? Because that's not ever talked about. If we can't explain why we do something, then why are we doing it? Our operators, we've opened up to expand more on who we are as a TD in the CTC, our purpose holistically, to where drivers get annoyed. They have to do their pre-trip inspection every day. It's the same thing. I left it perfect. I came back perfect. Well, here's why. Why is it grounded when I have a big crack in my windshield? Well, because of Chapter 1490, there's all these other aspects. They can still might be begrudgingly have to do it, but now they understand the reason behind why they have to do things. We've created a communication SharePoint page where we have a list of all different aspects for our Well for Life program, our operation, our customer service, things going on in the county. We've created a Tuesday Newsday monthly video where it's a 3 to 5 minute video with staff on updates, what's going on. We highlight individuals in the field and just opening up that communication to help people feel valued and let them know that what they do is just as important as the next person. And I think really having to shift that culture of trusting people to do their job they're hired for, giving them everything they need, listening, and making that be our forefront. And my leadership team, we looked at it, we are in the customer service business for our own staff. And I think that's really been a big positive change. Our turnover hasn't been too terrible in the last 6 to 9 months. Things that have people who have moved on, higher pay, spouse got another job, things of that nature. And we're seeing that retention rate get back to being there. So bottom line, we're trying to make people feel valued and respect them, treat them as individuals, adults, and people, and let them know the why that we do things. A very long answer for that, but I'm very passionate about making sure my team knows what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what they do in the field impacts this, and this down the road. So,
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to go on record. During my tenure here with the PDCB, the level of service for Sunshine Line is risk bad. Okay, I mean, even just down to the way the appearance of it is, they're actually brighter on the street. They're not the dull, drab vehicles. People take notice of it now. The operating statistics are outstanding, and the leadership starts at the top. So it goes all the way down through the system. So just kudos to all that you guys are doing. Thank you.
Any other comments? Yes.
How many, your drivers are averaging what number of hours per week? I mean, it'll change obviously all the time.
So they're always guaranteed 40, but with even with those vacancies, we're averaging about, I just did this math because we had a discussion on it, about 41 hours a week. So we make sure the overtime is, evenly spread. And that was another thing of being fair and equitable to everybody. And so they average about 41 hours a week, give and take.
Yeah, I'm just concerned it was a real job. You're going to expect this much pay.
Yeah, yeah.
Any other questions?
I'd just like to second Councilman his comments. And also, it's just a nice use of design thinking principles. So that's actually a really good example of using design thinking to improve your outcomes in business. Great work. Thank you.
And Jerry, we're happy to hear the good news because all last year you were looking for employees and looking for, so now as we enter the new year, you found it. So we're expecting good things to happen over at Sunshine. Can we have a motion to receive the report? Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposers? That motion is carried. Thank you, Jerry. And Jesus. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, TDCB. My name is Jesus. I'm with Hart Staff, and I'm here to provide you an update on the paratransit service. So we look at two metrics. We look at on-time performance. So you can see we're in the high 90s. Interesting to note here is that during December, we were a bit higher because it was the holiday season. So we have less riders, there is less traffic. So it's less delays. That is the drop-off on-time performance. We also look at pickup on-time performance that we pick you up within the window. You can see overall number of trips. There were less trips in December and more trips as we get out of the holiday season. And there's also more delays. You can see the late trips. It was slightly lower during December. The other metric we look at is ridership. So you can see the total number of trips getting higher as we get out of the holiday season. And you can see the two types of trips. We have subscription trips, which are the recurrent trips, like every Tuesday at 8 o'clock, pick me up so that I can get to my dialysis appointment. Those are subscription trips. And then the demand trips, they're the one-off. Like people call and say, hey, tomorrow at 8 o'clock, I want to go to the grocery store. Oh, and you can see there that subscription plus demands is not equal to total. That is because we have cancellations and no-shows. Then we also look at in-vehicle time, so the number of trips that took longer than 1 hour. So you can see we've managed to control this over the past 6 months. We are right now at 20 to 30 trips per month that take longer than 1 hour. In particular, from December to January, you can see we managed to reduce the number of trips that took longer than an hour and a half. And lastly, we have the taxi trips. So we rely on a contractor to do same-day trips and to do some overflow trips as well. And we are around 6,000 trips a month. And this number has increased dramatically over the past 6 months or so. Like last summer, we were at around 3,000 trips per month. And that's because we're relying more heavily on them to manage demand. Right now, our operation is at capacity. So when we get this overflow, we just send those trips to Yellow Cab so that they can help us out with that. And that's all I have. Happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any questions? Anyone? Hearing none, thank you, next week.
Thank you, guys.
Do we have any old business? Do we have any new business?
Yeah, so I want to go ahead and introduce Sarah Paper.
Okay.
She's the one at the podium. She's new executive planner here at the TPO. We also my new supervisor, so she'll be helping us with everything TV related. And she also has some TV experience, so I don't want to put you on the spot, Sarah, but if you want to say anything to the board.
Sure. Good morning, TDCB members. I'm really excited to be working here and working with Wally and working with you. So I look forward to getting to know you and seeing you more.
Thank you. Welcome. Okay. Any new business? Yes.
I probably recommend we have more of these that actually work.
I agree.
I mean, because we go to the mic and there's no difference.
No, it's not.
It's the sound system is not happening. I've got this and yet it's cranked up to 9 and I'm not hearing some of the stuff.
Yes, staff, you have your assignment for our next meeting.
I'll make sure to talk to you.
All right.
Any other comments?
Oh,
The new business? Okay, hearing none. Okay, we'll adjourn 11:07. Thank you. Have a safe and wonderful weekend.
Thank you. I have parking passes, so those in the garage.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,